Hello everybody and welcome to another 1000 PS TV video. Today we have a very interesting bike here with us. It is a bike without competition, namely the Kawasaki ZX-4RR. Now we tried riding this bike on country roads, so not on the racetrack. Yes, let's talk about how this bike performs on a country road. Now, first of all, what do we have? We have a 400cc 4-cylinder bike. There is no other bike on the market that is actually remotely close to what this bike has to offer in that regard. I think it's been almost 30 years since the last ZX-4RR hit the market, so Kawasaki finally decided to bring us back this iconic legend. Now, this bike has 77 horsepower stock, but I've seen YouTube videos where people with an aftermarket exhaust and a tune could get more horsepower out of that, and that horsepower is hidden at the very top of the rev range. So we have these 77 horsepower at 14,000 RPM. The bike revs up all the way to 16,000, if I'm not mistaken, almost hitting 18,000, and so that is pretty remarkable. What's also pretty remarkable is that this bike is actually legal, is that this actually was developed and that Kawasaki said no, there is gonna be a market for this, because nowadays with all of the regulations, these high revving 4-cylinder bikes, I don't think they're having the best time of their life. On the contrary. But anyways, we have this very good looking bike in this classic Kawasaki color scheme with pretty good brakes. We tried them. They were nothing too special. They worked fine. The usability was pretty good, and yeah, nothing too bad about it. The ABS, in my opinion, activated itself a bit too soon. When hitting the rear brake, it happened very often that the ABS would just activate itself. But otherwise, we have a 77 horsepower 4-cylinder. Now, okay, 77 horsepower is interesting, but what about the Newton meters of torque? Well, the higher a bike revs, the lower are the Newton meters. Usually, that doesn't apply if it's a super bike. So it does apply to this bike though. So we have 39 Newton meters of torque. 39 does not sound like a lot. It does not sound like a lot, and so we actually came into this test thinking that this bike wouldn't actually move at all, that it wouldn't move at all below these 13,000 revs. But that was not the case. That was actually not the case. The bike doesn't move too much until 5,000 RPM. Now, 5,000 is the bare minimum you need to keep it to get this bike moving. From 6,000 on, you have the first slight surge of power you can feel, but then the real surge of power comes at 8 to 10,000 RPM. That's when this bike really gets going and when you can actually feel the power it has to offer. The power is there, that's what I want to say. It is definitely very fun. You can use these revs because riding this bike, you're not limited to first gear, revving it like to 6,000, as is the case with a super bike, a leader bike, a 600cc maybe even. Here you really get to enjoy 14,000 RPMs in most of the gears. Now, on a country road, obviously not in 5th gear, but in 2nd gear, in 1st gear, in 3rd gear, you get to rev this beauty out all day long. And that is simply nice. Because for my ears at least, having a 4-cylinder 400cc bike revving to 13,000 revs constantly is just cool. At the same time, if you're passing some houses or you want to keep quiet, there's no problem. It's still a 4-cylinder, so you can just chug it into 6th gear and just lug it around at like 40 kilometers an hour, no problem at all. You won't be a nuisance to anyone. You won't be annoying a single soul. So you have both sides. Either you get to rev it all the way up or you ride it very calmly. We have a very, not very unusual, but we have a pretty unusual tire width at the back. We have a 160 tire, not the usual 180 tire. And I have to say, the handling of this bike really benefits from the 160 tire. It worked pretty good. None of us actually said, no, we would have wished this bike had come with a 180 rear tire. Yeah, of course, from an aesthetic point of view, a 180 might be better looking, but seriously, who cares? This bike is so very agile. It is so fun to ride. You get to throw it from one corner into the other corner without a lot of effort. It is simply agile. You can really say that this bike is agile. Agile notwithstanding its weight. This bike, one might say, oh, it's a 400cc, right? It's probably going to weigh about 150, 160 kilos. It actually weighs 189 kilos, so almost 190 kilos, which is, in my opinion, a lot, right? From the papers, you might say, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight for a 400cc bike. Yet we rode it, and obviously when moving, you don't feel the weight at all. But also when trying to move the bike without actually having it turned on, it's not too heavy. The bike is really not too heavy. And in the corners, you don't feel any of this weight. When it comes to the screen, yes, Kawasaki might not be the one to offer. They might not be the first manufacturer to offer you a new innovative design or a new innovative TFT dash. We have a 5-inch TFT dash, which is probably, I think it's the same on most of the Ninja models, if not all of them. Yeah, you get to read off everything in a very easy manner. There's no problems at all. The commands are, yes, Kawasaki usual commands, nothing to say there. Otherwise, the ergonomics, that's also a very important topic when it comes to these race bikes, because, I mean, let's be honest, this is a race bike. We have a more upright seating position when compared to other race bikes such as the 600, the ZX-6R or the ZX-10R. This has a very, very approachable ergonomic, a very approachable seating position. You can just stay on it and go for a ride without having the sickest pains all over your body. So definitely good, definitely approachable, not too radical, but still, if you wish to take this bike on track, then you can definitely do that with the stock handlebar and have some fun. The ergonomics, for me, I'm 170 centimeters tall. Let me throw a leg over it so you get to see it. The ergonomics are fine. You can be hunched over, of course. You can stay a bit more upright, which I really appreciated here on this country roads, because obviously I'm not tucked in as I would be on a racetrack. So the nicer ergonomics were really appreciated by me. There's one thing though that has stood out even more than the rest. And for me, that was the Quickshifter. This bike comes with a Quickshifter and a blipper. You get to smash on this Quickshifter in the corners, changing gears going from second to first maybe, hearing it scream, rev up all the way to 15,000 in the corner, and then you get to enjoy the acceleration, and you shift again, and then you shift again, because all of those gears have to be used. It's a 400cc bike, and it just works really, really good. The Quickshifter is very, very good. Well, we have an Akrapovic exhaust here on this model, and the sound was very, very good. Of course. But otherwise, I think I've said it all. Thank you very much for watching this video. Leave us a like if you enjoyed it. Maybe even consider subscribing to be able to watch even more of our videos. That would be awesome. Please do so. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.